most people are not afraid of putting in the effort. They don't know what to do. That's the problem, is that the abundance of information has now confused them, so they don't know what path to take. People aren't afraid of the work most of the time. They're afraid to make the wrong move.
Welcome to The Mindful Agent, where real estate success meets health, mindfulness, and personal growth. Join me, Michael Coxen, top performing agent and broker owner of Magenta Real Estate, as I explore the intersection of wellness and business excellence, helping you thrive in both real estate and life. My guest, Cory Jacobson, is a seasoned real estate investor, entrepreneur, and co-host of the Wealth Juice podcast, one of the top 1% of podcasts globally. Together with his partner, Ryan Bevilacqua, Cory has built a thriving real estate portfolio of over 80 units across multiple markets, spanning everything from long and short-term rentals to multifamily properties and even a resort. What I love about Cory's story is that it's not just about building wealth slowly and mindfully. It's about building trust, discipline, and a life that aligns with your values. Through Wealth Juice, he and Ryan have inspired thousands of investors and entrepreneurs to pursue financial freedom while also staying grounded in integrity and service. In our conversation, Cory opens up about his journey from working for the Philadelphia 76ers to becoming a full-time real estate investor. We talk about the mindset behind taking risks, the importance of partnership, what it means to live with purpose, and the one principle that guides everything he does: keeping your promises to others and to yourself. Let's get into it. Here's my interview with Cory Jacobson of Wealth Juice. Cory Jacobson, welcome to The Mindful Agent. Super happy to have you here. I'm a recent follower and fan of Wealth Juice. Tell me about that company that you created with your partner.
Michael, thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. I've done so many podcast episodes being on the other side of the mic. I love being, interviewed and sharing our story a little bit. So, I'll take you back not too far, but I'm 34 years old. I'm in Philadelphia. I started investing in real estate when I was 26 or 27, somewhere around that age. I bought a 3-bed, 2-bath. I lived in one of the bedrooms. I rented out the other 2 bedrooms. So I went from paying $1,000 a month in rent to living for free. I brought those roommates with me. And that, to me, and I scrapped up all the money I had, and I knew that real estate was going to be a thing for me. So I eliminated my housing expense. And by doing that, it opened up the world of like, wow, I need to be investing in real estate so that I don't have to punch a clock forever. So that allowed me to save up, buy a duplex, small duplex in New Jersey, $125,000 property that cash flowed $300 a month, nothing to write home about. But I sold it 3 years later for $100K profit. Mm-hmm. And what it taught me is that whole trading time for money thing, because I was working actually for the Philadelphia 76ers at the time of my first purchase, making a whopping $35,000 a year. It turns out, Michael, they pay the players a lot more than most of the other people at the company, but
yeah, I assume
that's the story. And they deserve it, by the way. I didn't deserve $1 million contract, but
nobody's buying your jersey.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to save an average. I said, 3 years, $100,000, like $33,000 a year from my job. Yeah. So I knew real estate was this thing that could really accelerate my wealth building. So I started a podcast, social media. Me and Ryan started partnering on deals together. And we were able to organically network with people like yourself and other investors and learn about higher level tasks and like growth. And then we started to partner on other projects, and we've been doing it for 6 years, and we have a number of units now. So
you mentioned
that's the long
Ryan.
short.
Ryan's a partner of yours. How did that partnership come about, and why did you choose to even have a partner?
We went to college together, Temple University in beautiful North Philadelphia, and I always knew there's something about him. I was like, this guy, like, he's really smart, he's fit. Like, he takes care of himself. Like, there's something here with could we do business together? Right. We lived together after college, and we were coming home from our 9 to 5 thinking, dude, like, we just went to college. We were business majors, whatever. Like, is this what it, like, is this it? Are we going to, like, is this what I did all this for? And I thought there has to be more. There has to be. So it was my idea to start a podcast because I thought, I think people would want to learn along the journey. I don't think they want to, generally speaking, I don't think people want to be talked down to. Oh, I have 200 units and I started in 1995. It's like, that's not beneficial for me to hear. The market today doesn't relate to the market back then. How can you share the story with me? And Rye said, dude, if you're going to do this, let's do it together. And I said, okay, great. We have complementary skill sets, but more importantly, we just trust each other wholeheartedly. So we started doing this together. And I thought, everyone told me that having a partner was the biggest mistake. Like,
Mhm.
you're going to lose everything, you're going to fall apart, all this. And I just thought, I won't let that happen, because money's not more important than, like, the saying, it's not about the journey or the destination, it's about the company. And I always think about that. Like, man, if I could just do this with more cool people, like, I don't want to make it to the top and be looking down. I want to be bringing everyone with me. So that's how the partnership formed. We started buying small duplexes and single family in South Jersey. Realized we were running out of our own money. Like, how do people scale? How do you get past 6 to 8 units? And our podcast was the answer. We started our social platform, started to network with people, and then we started buying in other markets. But him and I were always the head of the snake in terms of, like, the two of us are going to go 50-50 on all these endeavors together.
Mm.
And
So
it's been fun.
I love how you wanted to record and document the journey and the process, like being newbies, because that is who I think genuinely listens to these podcasts. They're trying to learn and get educated. And you, I imagine, shared your successes and your failures along the way. It's very real and authentic, and people gravitate to that. I imagine if I'm a new investor, I'd be like, hey, these guys are willing to share the ugly side, the growing pains. Like I trust them. So is that the journey? Like, do people now invest with you? Is that how you
Yeah,
scaled?
great question. So if you go back and listen to, like, all of our podcast episodes, we did exactly that. I mean, I made every single mistake possible, and I was just sharing it. Like, I had, my second property, day one, I was getting a text from tenants that it was raining inside my property, like coming through the windows. And I'm like, did I just make the biggest mistake of my life?
Mhm.
And I didn't know what to do. Turns out it wasn't that big of a deal. I had to fix a window, but I documented the whole thing. We had a property burned down. My fourth property burned down, like full insurance, like the whole thing. And I just shared what was happening because I wanted people to know that I'm probably not the only one this has happened to. So, like, here's what you do if by chance the worst thing that could possibly happen in real estate happens to you.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening is people were following along, and then they're saying, like, yeah, like, you guys seem like normal guys, authentic, real, just sharing your journey. Once we started to get a little bit of a following with it, I started to realize that there was such a need for people that were stuck in analysis paralysis, that wanted to do this, that wanted to build wealth through real estate, that wanted to look back 7 years from now and say, man, I'm so glad I bought that first property, but they were too afraid, or they didn't have the
Mm.
system, or they didn't have the team, or they just couldn't find what route to take. So we started teaching people how to do it,
So
very
you,
humbly, just saying, hey, this is I have a roadmap for you to follow to get your first property. And then you asked about the invest with us. Those relationships have since blossomed into, I'm buying my own property if I'm this person, but I can also partner with Ryan and Cory on deals after we build the trust in the relationship. So part of it is us teaching, and then now we also buy 5 to 30 unit multifamily with partners. Ryan and I are general partners, and we bring in limited partners as passive investors.
awesome. But it started at this moment where you purchased a property to live in. I want to go back to that. You mentioned that your roommates became your tenants. The term for that we call house hacking, right? That is not a move a lot of people are willing to make. What was your mindset at that age to jump in and to make that take that risk or make that sacrifice to live that way with a bunch of roommates? Like, why doesn't everybody do that? It seems so logical to me. To full disclosure, I did not do that. It was just a different era, and I was able, it was 2008 crash. We were able to buy our own house, my wife and I, when we started our journey. But like, what makes you different than somebody out there who is renting a room from a guy like you?
I think I wasn't afraid to make mistakes. I knew that they were going to come. I also it was honestly, Michael, was like a math equation. Like, I was getting, when I was renting, I was handing somebody rent. We were paying like total $2,500 between the three of us or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember looking up when this person bought this property and what he bought it for, because it's all public information. And then I did the math of what the interest rates were like back then, and I realized I was legitimately handing this person $1,500 on top of what his mortgage payment was. And I thought, is this guy smarter than me? Or has he just been on this planet a little bit longer and has a little bit more experience?
Mhm.
Or maybe he just learned something that I didn't learn.
Yeah.
And the answer was that he wasn't smarter than me. Maybe he was. Actually, I'm not that smart, but
He was
I
more
was
experienced.
it was figure outable, right?
Yeah.
So I just said, okay, I think I actually had a mentor that when I was working for the 76ers who couldn't pay. He told me, I can't pay you much more. He's my boss. I can't pay you much more here, but what you should do is that you should buy a 5-bedroom house and rent out the 4 bedrooms to these other people working here. And that'll allow you to save more so you can stay.
Yeah.
It kept me there a little bit longer, but then I ended up leaving. So I think it was a lack of, or I was not fearful. I wanted to, I knew that 90% of millionaires were made up of those who own some sort of real estate asset. I just needed to
Mm.
get started. And the best way to get started, in my opinion, to anybody listening, is to own or occupy a duplex, a triplex, a quadplex, or a single family home. And I also wanted to be in an area that I enjoyed living in. And this area that I bought has since exploded because I was noticing construction projects and I was noticing breweries getting put in and coffee shops. And I thought, man, it'd be cool to buy a property here. And that property was $250,000. And at that time in 2018, I was like, this is a lot of money. I almost
Yeah.
lost the deal. I was
Yeah.
like, I almost lost it over $5,000. Now it's worth $410,000.
Hmm.
I'm so happy I did it, and I didn't even force appreciate it too much. So
Yeah.
a
You
long way
got
of
in.
saying that I just wanted to start, and I wasn't afraid to
Yeah.
make a mistake.
So I mean, you had that drive to just start, and I feel like that fear of failure was not in you. Obviously, you embraced what happened, and that is something a lot of people need to really focus on. Is that I think thinking about the worst case scenario over and over is definitely going to lead to paralysis. I think that you were able to just say, you know what, I trust in my intelligence and my grit that whatever happens, I'm going to get through it. I mean, we all need to learn to embrace discomfort as a path to growth. Can you share a moment in your career when you stepped outside your comfort zone and then like that led to just an explosion of growth or success? I mean, it sounds like you had that turning point when you did this and you did it once or twice and you said earlier like, is this it? Like, how did you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to get even bigger?
Well, that's a great question. I was listening to Bigger Pockets a lot and hearing stories of all these people that had like a triumphant success, and I thought, all the information out there, Michael, is out there. Michael, it's not. We live in an AI world now where you can find any bit of information at your fingertips. So if you just take the average of the information that you're seeing from all these successful people and listen to what they do, and then actually go do that and not just hear it. Like everyone says, don't give up. Okay. Like I hear that so many times. Okay, don't give up. Okay. That means when I feel like I want to, I just, one more day. Let me just do one more day of this. Everyone says, all the perseverance and, putting relationships first. So like I'm taking all that advice. But I think the thing for me is when I started the podcast, it was just a way to document. And I was thinking like, who am I to like teach about real estate? Like I'm not trying to teach. I just thought that it would be cool for people to listen along. So, I mean, I think to answer your question ultimately is the breakthrough came when the podcast started to get some traction. And I had a couple people tell me in the beginning, early stages, like we had Brandon Turner and David Green agree to come on our podcast within our first 50 episodes. And they just said, both of them separately said, you guys are kind of good at this. And I was like, that's all. I didn't need
That's all you
anything
needed to hear.
else.
They are the host of Bigger Pockets, which is a
Yes,
wonderful real
exactly.
estate investing podcast. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. They've since moved on to do their own thing. They're wonderful to follow, as is Bigger Pockets.
Yeah, exactly. And I just said, if someone that is so far ahead of me sees some glimmer of hope in this content creation thing or the real estate thing, like I just have to keep going. So that was the breakthrough. It was just somebody else telling me who I felt validated from that
Mm.
was like, hey, you're decent at this. Just keep going. And I thought, you know what? How could I not take that person's advice? So
Yeah.
really, sometimes it just takes somebody believing in you that's a few
Yeah.
steps ahead of you.
And, if you're out there looking for somebody to say they believe in you, I'll be the first. If you're listening, I believe in you. Whatever your vision or dream is, you can do it. And Cory, I'm going to challenge you to pay that forward and be the Brandon Turner and David Green in somebody else's life. Find somebody to let them know they're doing a good job because somebody said it to you and it changed your trajectory. So now it's your job to say it to somebody else. Deal?
Absolutely. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably already in the position where you're looking to better yourself. You're looking for the next level. You're looking for to be more mindful and to live a better life. I mean, so you're already steps ahead of most people who will just sit on the couch and think about it and dream about it and not do anything. So kudos to you. Like we have belief in you, just the fact that you're listening. So I totally agree.
As you said earlier, you more information is not the answer. This is an AI generation. You can figure out everything with information. The next level is the action. I had a guest, Lisa Nelson, talk about the effort gap, and you got to put in the effort to get where you want to go, not just absorb information. If more information were the answer, we'd all have six pack abs and be billionaires. So it's time to put it into action, whatever that idea is, and maybe it's a
Can I add
partnership.
something in here? Sorry,
Please,
I just don't want to lose this thought. And sorry to cut you off, but
by
what
all
I think
means.
is a little bit of a challenge here, Michael, is that most people are not afraid of putting in the effort. They don't know what to do. That's the problem, is that the abundance of information has now confused them, so they don't know what path to take. And let me break this. I'm a former athlete, not very good, but I played sports my whole life. And I realized I had a coach at every level. For every middle school, I had a coach. High school, I had a coach. College, I didn't play in college, but I was recruited Division III. I would have had a coach at that level. And then you get to the real world, and then you have no one's coming to save you. You have no one to tell you what to do. So why would you not dig in to the thing that you want to do? Find the people who are already doing it at a higher level and hire them to teach you. And I think that's where the things, people aren't afraid of the work most of the time. They're afraid to make the wrong move. And I
Yeah,
think that that's what keeps people stuck in the analysis. And I just wanted to add that note in there because I would have
I
forgot.
love
But
it.
that's where people get mixed up.
Such a good point. Coaching stops at some point, right? And we all have coaches growing up. We have parents, we have guides, most of us, friends, teachers. Everyone has a guide, and then one day you don't. And you need to take that personal responsibility to go out and get coaching. And all the coaches that I know have coaches. All the therapists I know have therapists. Doctors have doctors, right? Like you can't do it all on your own. I think the number one thing you can do is be humble and find somebody, a partner. Like that's huge that you speak so highly of Ryan, your partner, saying you have complementary roles. You seem like a very grateful guy. I mean, I'm impressed, and I follow exactly what you're saying. So get some coaching, everyone out there. That's what propelled my career. I've talked about it before. Was joining a real estate team. It was huge to have other professionals around me criticizing me and helping me grow. So go out there and do it. I mean, so this market, you've been doing it. You mentioned now, I think it was like 8 years or so. You've been a real estate investor. You've seen some ups and downs for sure. How has like surrendering to the market approached or helped you approach this whole industry as a professional, mindful person?
This is another great question. So we got into starting to do more like larger scale projects right when a lot of these like bigger scale syndications were taking off on the internet, and how people were getting really hurt on these
Yeah.
projects, like larger projects, because of what was happening in 2021 and 2022, and then interest rates dropping, and like a lot of refinances coming due on loans that just didn't make sense anymore. So I think that the biggest thing is that I would rather lose my own money tenfold than lose somebody else's money who trusted me with it. So what we have done is just continued to have majorly conservative underwriting in any deal that we look at, because if you go online, you will find a 29% IRR deal that is presented to you that says this is going to make you X amount of money, and all you have to do is wire the funds. And by the way, those deals may exist and they may work and they may be fine, but I would just rather be more cautious and find the 15 to 18% IRR, which I still think are great deals, and not overpromise and underdeliver. So we always just be super conservative in our underwriting. And my goal was one property a quarter the last couple years. Like I wanted to buy the 5 to 30 units one a quarter. And what has actually happened is that we've averaged about 1 or 1.25 per year, because we couldn't find the deals that penciled out that made sense. And I'm trying to drop my ego to be like, why do I need to just buy more units to tell people I have more units? I should be finding the projects that make the most sense, risking my own dollars because I'm really like, I mean this. And then just making sure that I look, investing can go wrong. There's sometimes there's nothing you can do about it, but I really hold near and dear to like the conservative underwriting and only buying deals that make sense. So I'm not sure if that totally answered your question, but
No, it
this has been
does.
a yeah.
It feels like, the ups and downs of the market you're ignoring, in the sense that you have financial metrics that you deem to be conservative, where you put the other person's money first. Everything I'm hearing from you is, you seem to live a very other-centered life, where you are in service to your partners and your investors first, and magically things seem to be working out. Is that a coincidence?
Well, I would say this, like this year has been a big challenge for me. I left my full-time job about 15 months ago and I went all in on the real estate business, buying real estate, our mentorship program, and I'm an agent. So I left a six-figure high-paying job. I was doing all of this while maintaining a job. It just didn't make sense anymore. So I took an active income drop. So I don't want
Mhm.
people to listen to this or watch this and say like, oh man, this guy's got it all figured out. Like without a doubt, I undoubtedly do not have it all figured out. And I think that that me being like that, I think breaks the ice a little bit and lets people know like I'm not here telling you that I have it all figured out. Again, still the same way that I started the podcast, I'm sharing my journey along the way, but I do want to see everyone else around me win. And I
Okay.
noticed this, and I just noticed it because I was looking at an Instagram comment, somebody telling me that I was a D bag and that I was a bad, like I should get a real job. And I was thinking about, like my response to that. And my thought process is that I've realized that nobody punches down in this world, like nobody that is steps ahead of me has ever punched down and said, Cory,
Mm.
you're not a good person or you suck or whatever. It always comes from down to up. So I was like, well, I'm not going to reciprocate that. But I also am like, man, if I could just pull people up, like most people have done for me, the abundance all works at the top. The collaboration all works at the top. The competition's happening down here. And
Wow.
I've just learned to be like, all right, like it's not, I'm not, I don't want to paint this picture like I have it all figured out. I just realized the more that I do try to help other people along in their journey, it just does come back to you,
That's
and
awesome,
it
man.
doesn't come back to you immediately, like in the sense of like one for one or like immediate return on it, but it just
Yeah.
does eventually.
Yeah, it isn't one for one. It isn't direct. You're not going to help somebody and then get a return the next day. Karma is mysterious, but it always comes through. I love that. Nobody punches down. That's a beautiful thought. Another visual that you remind me of is, I'll always reach my hand down and try to lift somebody up, but the moment they try to pull me down, I'm going to let go. I'm always available to help somebody, but if they're trying to pull me down, then we got to part ways.
Yeah, that's a hard
That's
thing to
beautiful.
do. That's a hard thing to do, like to decide when it's not time to let go of a relationship or not help that person that you wanted to help or whatever. I just
Yeah,
realized that the social media world makes you feel like you know people more than you do.
yeah,
So if you were to like get a portrayal of Ryan and our page, and we're
yeah.
talking about real estate, we're talking about we own 80 plus 90 units, you get an assumption of we are these types of people that you have in your own head. I drive a paid off car. I live in the same property I lived in 7 years ago. I don't flaunt any wealth because I don't feel like that makes me happier. But there's all these assumptions that get made out there about like who people are, and I think that that's why this type of conversation, this long form, like get to know somebody, like that's what's so important in this world. So even if you're just listening to a podcast, like make sure that you're taking time and effort and energy to reach out to people that are in your life and have real nuanced conversation. And we can get into the whole thing of media and politics. I mean, that's not what this is for, but that's why things feel so messed up right now, because no one is like full getting the entire picture. And I think
Okay.
it's in
So I
everyone.
want you to speak to that person listening now who is afraid to start and doesn't know where to begin. What do you tell them?
Okay. There's a number of things that you would need to do. I would immediately try to surround the content and the social world that I consume with people that are looking like looking and feeling like me, have similar goals in mind, have a similar vision. So go follow people that you're like inspire you,
Train
because
the algorithm to something
you want
positive.
your ecosystem to be filled with positivity and people that are uplifting you. So that's step one. Then you'll
Great.
get to inevitably, this is how the algorithm works, get sucked into people's vortexes and funnels and stuff like that. But that's okay, because you want to meet people who are a few steps ahead, who are real, who are humble, who are actually trying to help. Then I would be actively talking about what I want to do in my life and my journey to everyone that is around me with no shame. I'm not a real estate investor yet, but I want to be a real estate investor. I'm not an agent yet, but I want to be an agent. You will subconsciously put in the minds of those people to think about you when you're not around. If that's who they think of, who's taught, Michael won't shut up about the fact that he wants to be an agent. Okay, maybe there's something to this. I'm going to think about that in other ways.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're putting your message into the universe and just
Yeah.
sharing your journey and sharing your story. I tell people all the time, you should start a social media platform when you have one property or no properties. Just share, like, I'm going out, I'm driving for dollars, I'm just looking around. And you'll be
Mm,
shocked how many people are like, hey, I'm doing the same thing. Like, maybe
mm.
there's some synergy here. Maybe we can create something together. So
Yeah, or there's a
that's
house in my neighborhood or my aunt needs to sell, and yeah, just you don't have to be famous and have this huge following. Like if one person sees that video, it could spark your career.
exactly. And that's why
Yeah.
I preach social media. I know it's people are sometimes trying to escape the social realm, and I totally, totally get that. That's why I have times where I like put my phone down. But I do think that it's the ultimate connector right now. And I mean, think about it, dude. We would not be having this conversation if it wasn't for social media. Like I wouldn't know somebody who's in Vegas who I totally align with that I could refer business to if it wasn't for the ecosystem of the internet.
True.
Like that's a beautiful thing if you look at it that way. Now, if
It's
you're
a
going down
tool.
just crazy rabbit holes of like death and destruction and gloom and doom, like
Yeah.
then
It's a
get out of
tool. It's a
that. Yeah,
tool. Like
yeah,
treat it like a tool that you use and pick up when you have a job to do, when you or if it's for entertainment, but like no set limits. It's an entertainment tool, it's a business tool. You're not just out there swinging hammers all day. So if you're out there on your phone all day, you're not using the tool correctly. You
exactly.
spoke to me offline about you did a 48-hour phone fast. Tell me about that and how it shifted your entire like mindset, if it did at all.
Well, it was easy to do it because I was on a beautiful island on vacation. So,
Okay.
I think that if I'm like in Philly and like go mode and doing podcasts and buying real estate and teaching people, I think I would go crazy if I had to do it there. But so I recommend for people like if you can, when you are away from your work, if you can just turn it off and maybe you let people know because you're client focused, you're client centric, you want to help others. Let people know, hey, I'm just not going to be available. And they'll respect you for that. But I did this, and what it did is it taught me that the 9,000 emails that I got boiled down to 17 that I actually needed to care about. The problems that I left were still there when I came back. The fires that I needed to put out were still burning at the same rate they were when I came back. So
I bet one or two of them actually went out without your involvement too.
exactly. And I don't think I'm the best delegator. Like I don't have this like huge churning business that I can just hand to an assistant or whatnot. But my point taken is that, yeah, they kind of things dissipate on their own if you let them. So what it taught me is that for years, business was done, people existed without these smart computers in our pockets. And you can separate yourself from this interweb, and it actually clears your head significantly. It clears your mind. Even just, I get up every day, go like touch grass, look at the sun, like not for too long, but walk around my neighborhood. Like these things in moderation allow me to like, okay, put the thing down. But that really helped me. It really
Yeah,
did.
you mentioned one of your properties actually burned to the ground, and you remind me of my brother's a broker in Oregon and Washington State, and he always says there's no such thing as a real estate emergency. And literally, he uses that example like, oh, the house is on fire, call the fire department. Like, Cody is not the one you need to call, and there's nothing he can do about it. Call the fire department. Hopefully everyone gets out safe. Call the EMTs. The dust will settle. In this case, literally, and then like you get to work on that insurance claims, etc. Relocating that can be done tomorrow or Monday. Like you don't have to be staring at your phone 9 o'clock dealing with a fire. It's not your job to deal with a fire as a real estate investor or a real estate agent.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've realized this the hard way is that, I was like squeezing things too tight sometimes or trying to get the most out of it and thinking I got to be on all the time. And I think that the more people that I talk to that when they're on, but when they're off, that is, I think, the best balance that you can be as like a business owner or an entrepreneur or an agent, because an agent is a 24/7 business. But if you can separate, your life, well, you said this actually better on our podcast. You integrate your life and your work to the point where it's not like work-life balance. It's just like, I know that there's certain times in a season that I have to be like more on, and there's
Mhm.
certain seasons that I can be more off. And it's not like I work a 9 to 5 and I'm like a robot, and when I'm off, I'm off. It's just, you have to know what's best for you.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
okay if you get that call on the weekend that the house is on fire. It's okay to obviously feel emotion and empathy and to want to help and say, "Oh my gosh, call the fire department." But also, you don't have to just stop whatever it is you've decided to do and go solve somebody else's problem. I mean, that's being an extreme example, but even on the daily examples of, "Oh my God, this signature is missing on this document." If you're with your family or you're exercising or you're on an island, like you can leave it be for a while. It's going to be okay. I think the phone has made us want to instantly, solve our problems and everyone else's problems and expect answers right away because we've gotten so accustomed to it. But as you said, business is done without it for a long time. And I actually feel like you gain respect from people when you set boundaries. Do you agree?
I totally agree.
You're
I
you're
found
really purpose driven. Like I feel like you have the whole other centered approach is incredible. So I don't want to answer this question for you, but like what is your purpose as a real estate professional? And then on the daily day-to-day actions, like how do those daily actions align with your higher purpose?
I think the real estate professional is just a byproduct of wanting to create a level of connection that I feel like that other people feel at a high level. Like, I want people to feel that Cory and Ryan and our bit, like, we really cared about the outcome for you in this situation. And we can't control all the variables, but I mean, this is a question I don't know that I've actually been asked for, like the actual purpose. I think the vehicle is our business. The vehicle is the real estate, but I think the purpose is just to live a fulfilled life with other people that have an abundance mindset and a mentality that they want to do good and be good and share those experiences. And I think real estate just happened to kind of be the vessel for getting to that. And I don't think I have a great answer. I mean, I think it's something that I really need to think about, but
Yeah, I love that because we kind of all go into this industry, generally it's about making money. We hear people can make money in real estate. It's I think you started with something you needed a place to live and you realized, hey, this is a smart way of doing things. So yeah, the purpose is like to make some money, but let's just fast forward to Cody 10 years from now and you've made millions of dollars and you've got wealth juices just killing it out there. We've got syndications and investments. You don't even need the money. What do you do next?
I don't think much changes. And this is a cool thing about, we talked about this on on my podcast, is that like, what I asked you about your day, like what your perfect day would be like. And I don't think much changes. I think the only thing that is missing right now is that I used to be heavily involved in basketball, and I was a basketball coach for 12 years, coached college, coached high school. I love the kids. I love watching somebody come in as a 15-year-old and exit as like a 18-year-old man. Like the transformation that you watch people go through, and to be like a sliver of a part of that. I've coached guys who are in the NBA, and just to watch their journey. I think I would probably, the only thing I would do is I had to stop doing that in order to grow my business, or put it on pause for a little bit. So I think I would go back to being a high school basketball coach at that level, because I didn't want to tie my dollars and cents to wins and losses. That to me was, I love it for the purity of the game. But I wouldn't change much. And I took that coaching aspect of wanting to be a coach into the real estate, and now teaching people how to build a network, how to build a team, how to underwrite deals, how to navigate the buying process, how to grow on social, those things. I've kind of like, that's a little bit of my outlet. So if I were to do it with, I would do the same thing I'm doing now, create content, be on podcasts, if the money wasn't a thing. And I think that maybe that's a sign that you're doing something right.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, you're a coach no matter what industry you're in, it sounds like. And what about yourself? How are you integrating physical fitness and wellness practice into your daily or weekly routine? Still shooting hoops?
Oh man. The one thing that is missing is I'm not playing basketball like I used to. But I've transformed that. You mentioned golf. I love playing golf, but my workout routine is so it's so regimented now that it's just like I don't feel, it's almost like a drug addict like not getting the fix, where it's like if I didn't do it, I don't feel normal, it's like so weird, like I'm agitated, and like
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually a good thing or not, but
Physical
I
fitness is the world's most addictive and healthy drug there is. I agree.
yeah,
I was just thinking about that this morning at the gym, as a matter of fact, feeling good, going, man, there's nothing better than this. And I never would want this taken away from me. So I understand the feeling. It's a healthy
yeah,
addiction.
it's
I
kind of
mean,
one of those things where I like, I have a certain amount of days a week I'm in there. I'm in like 4 to 5 days a week. I'm walking 15,000 steps a day. I'm
wow.
drinking the water. I'm eating right. I'm trying to do all those things. And I've noticed that there's been incremental tweaks that I'll make. Like I've done if anybody's heard of 75 hard, I don't think that's sustainable at all, but it's like basically this 75-day, no alcohol, follow a diet, take a progress photo, gallon of water, 2 workouts a day, one's indoor, one outdoor. It's like this intense, focused, do this for 75 days and see a transformation. And I did that, and I did not see a major body transformation, which is interesting because I was already in decent shape. But what it taught me is that instead of working out 3 days a week, I thought I can't fit more than 3 days a week in. How am I going to do this? I did that for 75 days, and I took the bits and pieces that I wanted and I put it into my every single day practice of like, no, I can actually work out 4 to 5 days a week. My diet can be a little bit tighter. Like I can drink more water. I can take more steps. I can fit all those things in that I didn't think that I could. I
Mhm.
could read more. So I think doing like cool challenges like that allows you to like expand your mind of like what's possible, what can be added into my routine. And now it's just a part of like my everyday life.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the challenges, and I think people are afraid to start them maybe because it's like, oh, it's not sustainable. But the point is to learn new habits that you can integrate. Perfect advice. Start small. Everyone out there, and I want to know, like, how has your focus on physical fitness influenced your performance or your mindset at work?
Oh man. Like I feel like it's the foundation for everything that I do. And I am not like, everyone has their own like circadian rhythm and like their sleep time and all that. I'll be the first to admit, I am not waking up at 4 a.m. and going to the gym. Like, that's just not me. I'm like more of a night owl. So I'm up till midnight, like every night.
Mhm.
And if that's not a telltale sign that I don't have kids, like, I don't know what is, but I'm up, but I'm like a 12 to 7 person. So
Mhm.
I'm finding time in my day to go to the gym regardless of what I have going on, and that sets like kind of resets my brain. I'm thinking clearer, I'm less agitated. um if that can be the hardest thing that I do, that workout, then making the sales calls or having the tough conversations or negotiating, if that can be just a notch easier than the workout, if I make that the toughest thing, then I'm like, okay, then all the other things in my day are like, they pale in comparison to like the physical tests that I already had to put myself through. So
Yeah, I think
that's
you're.
what makes it's sharper. I feel like I get sharper.
Yeah. You're touching on that unspoken benefit of exercise is like the confidence builder in yourself. They're like, I can do this hard thing. I can do that hard thing. I can lift this weight. I can make that call. Like it makes you confident in your ability.
Uh,
That's excellent.
that's it. That I mean, that's you nailed it. You nailed it.
What advice do you have to give other agents or real estate investors on like maintaining energy and focus through, their fitness and their workday?
I would
How do
say
you
this.
maintain that energy? You're off 7 hours of sleep, which is okay, within that 6 to 8 recommendation. How do you
Yeah.
keep going?
Um, I think that this is an interesting topic. The what actually I'm by nature an extrovert. So what brings me energy is actually the people and getting in front of conversations and shaking hands and kissing babies and like just like being out, and like that actually brings me energy. I think sometimes people get in their own head where they feel like, oh man, I'm too tired to go do this thing, but that thing that you're going to do is actually the source of your energy. And
Mm,
that is so, for example, like I'm too tired to go to the gym, but half the battle is just getting there. When you get there and you finish that workout, even if it's just incline walking or whatever it is, when you finish the thing that you did, you now gain this new source of energy. For example, my social battery is dead, whatever. Like, I don't want to go talk to people. Then you go talk to those people. And if you're an extrovert, you actually gain new sources of energy by doing that. So don't shy away from those things. I think lean into those things, even when you don't want to. And it helps kind of, I recharge everyone needs their own alone time, right? But I kind of recharge by being social, actually, and like having those interactions, because sometimes you're just deep in work. Um, so yeah, I think that that's a
I
hard
agree.
question to answer, but
No,
yeah,
you answered it well, and you're making me think of a number of examples. I too am an extrovert. I think most podcast hosts have to be.
yeah,
And recently in my career, there was an event, Las Vegas Real Producers. It's a magazine. They do an event. It was like 45 minutes away in the hills of Henderson, and I didn't want to go. But my neighbor, Sam Cohen, happens to be a real estate agent. He was being honored at this event. I mean, the guy lives across the street from me. I can see him every single day. But it was me driving all the way 45 minutes the other side of town where he and I had the best connection and conversation we've had as 3 years as neighbors. And I didn't want to go because it was so far. And amongst other great conversations I had that day, my title rep was there. We built more rapport. And I have a new agent recruit I'm having coffee with on Wednesday just from going to that event, an event that I did not want to go to. So, I mean, I can go on, but that's just one night and one example that echoes what you're saying. You have to
yeah,
go out there and just do the thing. In fact, I think my episode that came out just a month prior is called, Just Do It. And there's nothing more gratifying than just doing the thing you don't want to do. Like, if at the very least getting it over with, as
yeah.
opposed to pushing it off into the future when you're not going to want to do it next week either way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the challenge that when people hear that, they're thinking like, well, what if I don't know what to do? And I think that's where the maybe the lack of direction is for a lot of people. Like, what if once you learn if you're willing to do the thing, once you learn what it is that you should do, then I think it becomes a lot easier. And there's so many paths that you can take in the agent world and the investing world. So narrowing down what your buy box is going to be or what your skill set is, and doing that for a 3 to 5 year period. I mean, God forbid, like just do that thing for that long to know if it's going to work. And sometimes you have to beat down doors that you don't know what's going to be on the other side. And that's the hardest part about because if you're an agent, you're an entrepreneur. So I'm just looping them together. Like the entrepreneur game, the agent game, the investing game, you don't know what's going to be on the other side. And you don't know how long you have to knock until somebody answers. And that is why most people don't make it all the way through. And I think that that's okay. That's the natural selection of it all. But just keep going, because if you do, you're going to end up making it to another side, or at least having another fork in the road to make another decision that leads you to another person that might help you do the XYZ next thing. So, yeah.
Amen. An object in motion stays in motion. Just keep going. I love it. And we're gonna keep going and roll into our quick fire wisdom segment.
Cool.
It's kind of a rapid fire segment. Ask you a few questions, reveal a little bit more about you. Try to keep the responses concise. We do our best, but a tangent is welcome. So let's move into it. Number one, what's the one habit you've developed that's made the biggest difference in your day to day life?
I have this tattooed on my body, actually, that's kind of corny, but it says "Keep your promises," and it is a quote from I heard it from Ed Milet. I mean, it's not like proprietary info, but basically, what it means is that if I say that I'm going to do something, I want to keep my promises that I make to myself, so much so that I'm not concerned about the opinions of other people, because I trust myself so much. And I think that that is actually what breeds confidence. Loving yourself and trusting that you know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, whether that's go to the gym or send that email or connect that person, that it doesn't matter what people think of me. I'm not too concerned about it because I know that I can trust myself. And so I keep my promises as much as I possibly can. That's a habit, believe it or not.
Wow. I mean, that answer delightfully surprised me. I mean, to consider keeping promises a habit is something I never thought of. And what a shortcut to success if you just kept your promises to yourself and others every single day. Good
Yeah, I
one.
mean, how many times? And I will let this be rapid fire. Hear
It's
me
all
out on
good.
this.
Good
But
answer.
how many times do you hear from somebody, "I'm gonna do this when," or just even something that's like, "Oh yeah, we should hang out sometime," or like, and then they're like, you're like, "Does you actually mean that? Like, do you want, like, should we actually follow through on that? Or are you just saying this filler words?" So I try with all my might to, if I say something, that I just follow through on it. And even if it's not the exact version of what I thought it was going to be, I'm not a robot. I'm just saying, like, just if you say something, become trustworthy and trust yourself that you're going to do what you say. So yeah.
I love that. We should hang out sometime. If you don't mean it, don't say it.
Yeah, it's just like I
So
mean, I think
true.
people just get nervous, they don't know what to say, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So we should not hang out sometime.
yeah.
Sometimes just be honest with people. But yeah, that's funny. That's a thing. You're in Philadelphia. We're here in Las Vegas. I'm from New York. Anywhere you are, keep your promises. That's my big takeaway for today. And moving into question two, I think maybe you already answered it, but what's your favorite quote or mantra that you live by?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be it. That's kinda, like, combined into one.
Definitely.
Um, yeah, for
You
sure.
skipped ahead, so that's good.
Yeah.
We're making pace now. We're starting to lap ourselves. So keep your promises, favorite quote, and daily habit. It's good. What about? I know you're a reader. What book has played a significant role in contributing to your personal growth?
You know, I it's funny, we talked about this on a podcast recording that we did on my podcast today, but, a couple books that changed my feeling about things is the oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, be where your feet are, and that was something that we talked about, especially on like the mindfulness of mindful agent, this podcast, like that helps you stay grounded and humble and focused on like if I'm having this conversation with you right now, like my phone and my email and things that are ringing in the background, they're not. I'm here. I'm where my feet are, and I struggle
Mhm.
with that all the time. Where that book was written by a quasi mentor of mine, to just stay in the present moment, and doesn't mean that you're not thinking about the future. It's just that whatever you're doing at that time is the ultimate focus. So and
Right
that's a
on.
great book.
Be,
Yeah.
be here. Be where your feet are.
Yeah.
Got it. Put it on my to do list. What's your favorite app or tool for productivity?
Oh, this is a good one. So for personal finance, I love the app Monarch. If anyone's heard of Monarch, it's like
Monarch. We'll link to it in the show notes. I don't know it.
yeah, that is like an ultimate, like I can look at where my finances are on a monthly or weekly basis. It's kind of like Mint. Mint was free. Monarch's like the paid version. I love Asana. Asana is like a project management software, really, where you can like delegate tasks and tag people, and like there's also a built-in schedule. So those two come to mind, like the personal finance side, and then Asana for like tasks.
Okay. And last question. What's your go to way to unwind after a long day?
Outside of the gym, because I wouldn't, sometimes that's winding you up a little bit, depending on how you look at it. I would say, just spending time with my fiance and like just being in conversation and trying to stay present with her. I also love the golf. So like if I can, golf isn't exactly the sport that you can just do at the end of the day, right? But
Mhm.
just spending time with my family and really being present with them. That's all I can really ask for.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Yeah. It sounds like a great way to end your day and a great way to end the podcast. Corey, appreciate you coming on, man. And looking forward to keeping the conversations going.
Michael, thanks for having me, man. This was awesome. Great conversation. I love the nuts and the bolts of talking about the real estate portfolio, but like talking about the whole picture to me is like the most fun. So thanks for having me.
Corey said something that really stuck with me toward the end of our conversation. He mentioned that he has a tattoo. The tattoo reads, "Keep your promises." It's simple, but when you think about it, that one phrase could change everything. He wasn't only talking about promises to other people, though that definitely matters too. He was talking about the promises you make to yourself, the small, quiet ones. The promise to get an education, the promise to go to the gym, to make that call, to have coffee with that client, mentor, or friend, to follow through on what you say you would do long after the mood you were in when you made that promise has passed. Keeping promises builds self trust, and self trust is the foundation of confidence. Because when you know you can rely on yourself, you stop needing validation from anyone else. You don't care who believes in you because you believe in you. Think about that. Most of us don't break promises because we're lazy. We break them because we don't believe our own word matters. But every time you skip the thing you said you'd do, you're quietly teaching yourself that your word doesn't mean much. And every time you follow through, even if it's small, you're rebuilding that muscle of self respect. So if you want to feel more confident, more consistent, and more grounded, don't start with this new system or a new goal. I want you to start with keeping the promises you've already made. And if you've been breaking them lately, that's okay. You can always start again today. Just one small promise kept, then another and another. That's how we build trust with others. That's how we build trust with ourselves. And that's how we build the life and business we say we want. So today, ask yourself, what promise do I need to keep? And what would it feel like to fully trust myself again? Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it out slowly. Feel your feet on the floor. Be where your feet are. Now get to it. And remember, success starts within. Thanks for joining me on this journey today. I'm Michael Coxen, and this is The Mindful Agent. Join me next time as we continue to explore the intersection of real estate, health, and mindfulness. Looking to grow your real estate career? At Magenta Real Estate, we put you first. Our entire business is built around your well-being and your success. With 100% commission, powerful marketing tools, and a supportive community that truly cares. Success starts within. Visit joinmagenta.realestate today.